Sit right down and I'll show you where my dreams begin.
We're just excited that you're joining us in this very special house called Food is Religion. We are now 7,900 members strong around the world. And we talk about food, we talk about culinary arts, we talk about lots of things around food, but also about culture. Today, I'm really excited to host this talk show. I host it once a month. And then we have this talk show every month on Sundays. We have incredible conversation. You are here in the Food is Religion house. I want to introduce Hiromi. She's an actress, a martial artist, 5th degree black belt, a content creator, a moderator all over Clubhouse. And the bulk of her acting work is in commercials with over 30 years of experience in the industry. She's acted in television shows, film, stage. And for content creation, Hiromi's main social media platform is TikTok, as many of you know, where she has over 180,000 supporters and over 40 million views with the hashtag of Hiromi Acts. She creates fun mom acting challenges. And I'm a fan, by the way. I listen and I watch all the time. And she's thankful for so many followers from around the world who do acting scenes with her. You can hear her frequently as a co-host and moderator, as you know, as many of you know, and on panels on Clubhouse and a variety of topics. She's also my friend and a friend to so many people on Clubhouse, and I am honored to have her here today. Welcome, Hiromi.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much.
So where did it all start for you? I know that you're connected to Food is Religion, but you're also connected to Clubhouse in many different houses. But as far as Food is Religion, when you were growing up at an early age, what connection did you have to food?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. And I actually wrote an article about this. So my dad is from Japan, which is why I have a very Japanese sounding name. And my mom is actually Chinese. She's from Hong Kong. So I'm so blessed to have both cultures in my life. I'm born in Canada and I grew up in Canada. I've lived in Canada most of my life. But the funny thing is, you know how a lot of people grow up with their moms or their grandparents cooking in the kitchen and then they have this big elaborate meal? That wasn't me. My mom was a single mom very early when we were super young. We ate a lot of takeout, and she admits, she's the first person to admit that she does not cook. She doesn't like cooking. We had the best times on the weekends where we would go to all these different restaurants all over Toronto. And Toronto has amazing restaurants, especially Chinese restaurants. And my mom she doesn't know how to cook, but she knows how to order. So we would go to like the mom and pop shops, the noodle shops, the wonton shops. We would go dim sum. And sometimes we'd go fancy and go to Red Lobster for the lunch special. And we used to love Harvey's. Like we just went everywhere, and we would like order takeout and keep it in our fridge. And we would, like, my sister and I would eat that like at during the week. We were latchkey kids as well. So yeah, we didn't have the conventional kind of growing up that other kids have, but I really cherish eating out. And I think that's why I love going to restaurants and eating out a lot. So I'm not a good cook, but I think food connects us in so many different ways, and we can appreciate food in so many different ways.
You know, it's interesting too. So I haven't shared this with you, I don't think, but I'll share this with you and all of our listeners. My wife hates to cook. When we got married, I mean, I would do a lot of cooking. She's a really good cook, but she doesn't like it because she didn't grow up enjoying it. And there's an episode, in fact, our very first episode on Voice4Chefs is called Stay Hungry. It's 16 minutes, I think. And it took me 4 hours to edit it because I was brand new to podcasting. It's the story of why she hates to cook. And it's called Stay Hungry. And so her favorite thing to cook is reservations. And she always says that, and it always makes me laugh. I like to cook. I like to cook lots of different things because I went to cooking school, but it's really not necessarily about cooking. It's about enjoying food. And you definitely enjoy food. And there's always a connection to that, right? People need to recognize. Some people just eat to eat. We need to eat to enjoy, and that's what Buddha's religion is about, is really enjoying food. And when people come to the rooms or our house, they get to experience that with the moderators from all over the world, like yourself. So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about growing up and kind of what shaped you into a social media influencer? In other words, when you started out, what did you want to do as a kid? And then kind of take us a little bit through your background.
Oh, yes. Okay, so when I was younger, I always was fascinated with performing. I don't know why. It was always a big fascination for me. Also, being a latchkey kid, my sister and I watched a lot of TV. We liked a lot of TV. So I was always into all the TV shows. I loved soap operas too. And I don't know, I just loved TV. I loved watching actors on TV. And I always thought, oh, that's something that I've always thought I would that was my dream, is to perform. But I was really shy. And like most actors, I was also like picked on when I was a kid because, there wasn't a lot of people or kids that kind of looked like me when I was young. Yeah, so I had to deal with that as well. But then I remember one specific moment in my life in when I was in grade 6. I think in America you say sixth grade, but I was in grade 6, and they're encouraging us to do speech arts. So I said, okay, I'm going to write this speech. And I was this very shy, awkward kid. I was always emotional, crying. And I thought, what am I going to write a speech on? And I said, wait a second, I'm such an emotional kid. Why don't I do something on feelings? So I did this speech on feelings. I started off the speech crying, and everybody thought I was crying. And then I went into like happy, mad, every emotion. And that speech did so well that my teacher and the principal had me go into competitions and had me do that speech over and over and over again. But then it made me realize this is what I love to do. And then when I got into high school, I started doing more acting. And then university, I took some courses. And then after university is when I really went into like auditioning and stuff. So I have been a commercial actress for 30 years. And being a commercial actress really, I think, made me realize how much I love social media. Then social media became popular, and then that's how I really started. I just because I've always been a social person, and even when I was reading my like high school records, they're like, Hiromi talks too much in class. Hiromi socializes too much in class. And funny
But
thing
that's
is,
such a gift. Come
right?
on. That is such a gift, Hiromi.
I know, but I feel bad for my teachers. Like, I'm like, oh, I was too much of a troublemaker. But it was nice because then now, like, that kind of led me to the path now of being, very social and talking to everybody and getting to know everybody's stories. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Can you describe a little bit about kind of your first entrance into social media and what that looked like? Like for me, I was completely clueless. I mean, I had friends on Facebook and things like that, and I started an Instagram, and I didn't really understand very much, right? And then I got better at it as I went along. But how did that all start for you?
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, we started on Facebook too. Back in the day, we're showing our age. And then I remember I was on Facebook, and then I really liked Twitter back in the day when it first started. I was like, whoa, Twitter was incredible. And then I got onto Instagram. What really got me exposed to social media was, and I don't know if a lot of people know this about me, I used to write for an unofficial Walt Disney World blog. And because,
Wow.
yeah, I guess I
Oh
know
my
it
gosh, that's amazing. I can believe it because your energy and your passion is very connected to that.
Yeah, no, I just love Walt. I remember we went on a Walt Disney World trip, and I was blown away by Disney World. And then I just submitted an article, and I'm still friends with the owner of this blog. She sold it, but she's a mass communication major as well. And so I remember I submitted an article, and she liked my writing. She told me to be a writer, and I started to get the blogging world, especially back then with Disney, was huge. Disney had this Disney Moms program. It was just big, and it was so great. I got to learn a lot about social media through being in this blogger kind of community. And so I learned about how to, be on Instagram, how to tweet, and I just learned a lot being around really amazing social media people in the Disney kind of world, pun intended. And so, yeah, and that's how I started getting into it. And funny thing is, it did lead to food because I got pregnant with my son over the years, and then my son, I think many of you know, has severe multiple anaphylactic allergies. He's allergic to dairy, wheat, egg, and sesame, and so we can't eat anywhere except Disney World. He eats like a normal kid. I don't know how it is now, but back then it's incredible. Like, he can eat at almost any fast food restaurant. We do have to talk to a chef or the manager first. We go to any restaurants, the chef comes out, takes our order. I wrote about that too. So it always leads back to food. Posted a lot about it, and I met a lot of really great foodies, like Disney World foodies. So, and the allergy community as well. It was really incredible. So yeah, it always relates back to food. And so that's how I got it into it. And then, yeah, we can talk about TikTok too, if you'd like.
Oh, definitely. But I'm just trying to, for everyone that knows you, they may know these stories, but for people that don't, trying to shape this, shape Hiromi's life a little bit so that we can kind of walk through and learn about your journey. So, as you were growing up, you just kind of connected to social media, and then you combined acting and social media, which is really powerful. I also know that you're very passionate and very good at improv. My wife is really into improv, and she started out kind of as an introvert, and then she started taking improv classes, and oh my gosh, she blossomed and became so confident. Also, we've talked before about Toastmasters. I'm a big advocate for that, probably 8 years now, but it's public speaking and leadership. And my wife and I both took Toastmasters and really strengthened our social skills, I would say. So I'm more of a ambivert, which is an extrovert introvert, and she's more of an introvert. It's amazing what these things can really do, to help you get over imposter syndrome, to get over fears of public speaking and those challenges. And I know that you've conquered that, probably through improv and probably through acting. But you want to talk a little bit about that?
Actually, that's so amazing that your wife did improv classes and that you're mentioning improv, because I did get a scholarship for 1 year at the Second City Training Center back in 2000. They had this, it was a diversity scholarship. They were trying to get more BIPOC creators into the Second City programs. And so I auditioned, and yeah, I got it, and I was able to do a full year of courses. So that's interesting that you mentioned improv. And I suggest improv for everybody because it can work in so many ways, whether you're on social short form video, whether you're live, whether you're on social audio, like I see Mimi Langley there, the social audio queen. Like, just being on your feet and quick, it just helps you to think quickly and shift quickly, and the yes and. It's all about welcoming and saying yes and. And I'm sure your wife knows the yes and as well, right?
Oh, and I know it too. Yep, I learned it from her. It's pretty powerful. It's like breaking down barriers for everything. Life, relationships, work. Yeah, I just think it's really powerful. Well, what's amazing to me, Hiromi, is that you're involved in so many things. Black belt in karate school, Clubhouse, social media, and an amazing mom. Like, how do you have time for all this? How do you balance?
Oh, one of my friends, he's a doctor. He says, it's like we have spinning plates. I know he did this analogy. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is my life. A lot of people say, try and delete something so that you can slow down. But I love everything I do, so I can't delete anything. Right? So everything that I'm involved with that you mentioned, I just love so much and I'm passionate about. So it's hard. I do have to be more intentional and be mindful of my time. And I do have to like shut down my social media when and just focus on my son when I'm with him.
I actually think you're really good at it because I see all the things that you do. And, I'm a big fan. Like I said, since I met you, I've been following you and I'm just amazed at all the things that you can. It's just amazing to me that you're involved in so many different things, and also that you would make the time for this. That means a lot to me and to Food is Religion, I think, because this is an amazing story that needs to be told about you. And I'm just honored that you're here doing this with me. So as we go along in your journey, what is it that where you came to a point where you started to get noticed on social media? Like, where was that transition? You're on Facebook and you're on Twitter, and now you're just kind of coming into your own. And then all of a sudden, I'm sure something happened. Can you describe that for us?
Yes. So I was on Twitter for a while. I didn't like have a lot of followers, but I was gaining attention, especially with my, I really liked Twitter back in the day. And then Instagram, it was more, like before when I was on Instagram, it was more just showing my everyday life, family, some Disney stuff thrown in. It was TikTok that really I saw how potential and huge that someone can grow. TikTok, so many people grew so fast. I actually didn't grow really fast. My dad's account grew fast when we started. Mine grew much later, and their strategies. Okay. I talked with Jonathan. He's in the audience. We talk about strategies as well about that. So yeah, I didn't grow until a year later, but it was TikTok that I was like, wow. And because of TikTok, other platforms kind of, I don't want to say copied, but they kind of emulated a lot of their formula. And then people started growing on on Instagram and utilizing YouTube. Like, it just really expanded people's visibility and the way people can monetize, the way people can build communities. It's just, TikTok was really, I don't know how to say it. It was, I just love the app so much, even though there's been a lot of changes and, there's good and the bad. I just think it was phenomenal for giving so much visibility and exposure for so many people.
You continue to have an amazing following, 40,000 views. That's just incredible to me. Why don't you share a little bit about your father so everybody knows? I was fascinated when I learned about your father, but I know you help him with his social media. You're probably his coach.
Yes, so I do run all of his socials, and I do teach for him.
Oh my gosh.
And mine too. Yeah, I do teach for him.
Just another layer of Hiromi here. Just another amazing layer.
Oh, luckily, you know what's good though, Michael? Because social media you can do anywhere, right? So it's good because I get to stay home and do the socials for myself and for my dad. I don't have to go into an office or, go somewhere to work. Like, it's been really nice to do a lot of stuff that I can do from home. So that's the good thing about that. So my father is a karate master. He's one of, not my words, he's one of the highest ranking masters in the world. And
wow.
Yeah. And he teaches everywhere around the world. And he teaches people in the military. He has the key to the city of Cali, Colombia. And he's gotten so many different awards across the world. I learned from him, and I teach for him as well. And so, yeah, I just started his social media. I started his TikTok, his Instagram. So that's what I've been doing with him.
Let's get some hearts for Hiromi's father.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
see him. I see a couple of them here. You got a huge heart for your father from me. And here's why. Because as a kid, I took karate. And I actually remember with my best friend, he kicked me in the face. We still stayed friends, but, we were sparring and fighting. But my Aunt Judy owns a karate studio in Florida. And she, I think, is a 3rd degree black belt. You're a 5th degree black belt, Hiromi. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
Wow. That is phenomenal. Like, how long does it take to be a 5th degree black belt?
Yeah, so a lot of people kind of question why I'm a 5th degree black belt, because I know I do I admit I do look younger than I am, but most fifth degree black belts are my age. Like I'm 50. Like
Okay.
so I just turned 50 in September. Well, this a few weeks ago.
My
And
birthday's in
so,
September too. I knew
oh,
that's one of the reasons I loved you is
that's
September.
right.
I mean, come
Virgo
on.
babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was last week. I was actually sick, but I'm better now. So yeah, that's so amazing. Fifth degree black belt is, that's really incredible. I think I got an orange belt, but I was a kid. Anyone who has achieved a black belt, that's a huge, huge honor. So congratulations. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's just incredible about your dad. Like I was shocked to hear that. And then you manage all the social media. You manage your own social media. You have kids and challenges around raising your kids. Also Clubhouse. Let's talk a little bit about Clubhouse now. So you've been a moderator probably since the beginning. When did you start in Clubhouse? Was it in the beginning? And how did that happen?
Yes, I started Clubhouse in January 2021, so very early. And I'm so thankful for so many friends that I've met on Clubhouse. I actually became a moderator quite early, like probably a month.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. And I made some mistakes along the way, but I had so many great mentors back then. And
anyone you want to shout out to? That was one of my questions for later on, but we might as well hit it now.
Yeah. So back then, Argentina Beltran, hopefully she's incredible. She really helped me and she got me on stage. I don't know. There's so many people. And I used to do a regular room every week with my friend, Mike Talpacito. He's not on Clubhouse, but he has his own, I was on his podcast. I was also on Argentina's podcast, everybody's podcasters too. And and also my friend, Masami, he does Strong Asian Lead. He had me as a moderator and also the Asian professionals, my friend Keith Koo and Joseph Ye. All of them really helped me gain confidence as being moderators on stage early in the days. And then I also love Mimi Langley's rooms. She's incredible. So I learned
I've been to some of them, Mimi. Wow.
Yes.
Shout out to Mimi right here. She's right here with us. Shout out to you, Mimi.
Yeah, and I learned so much from her. And also my friend Katie Mason, she hasn't been on Clubhouse for a while. But it was incredible being in rooms with her too. So yeah, so many great people that I learned from.
As we talk about Clubhouse, how did you come into food as religion? When did that happen? Can you share a little bit about that?
I would see Chef Mimi's rooms before she created Food as Religion. I would see her everywhere. And also because there were a lot of Asian rooms that were huge back in the early Clubhouse days. And there were Asian rooms about everything. Asian professionals, Asian food rooms, just a lot of really great Asian rooms. And also some really sad ones because at that time, there was a lot of, there still is the Stop Asian Hate movement. So there was a big community of Asians trying to, and also the Atlanta shootings happened at that time. And I remember being on stage with Lisa Ling. I was like, oh my gosh. And we were talking about, I didn't talk when she was talking because I was so nervous, but she was talking about it. And so many Asians got together on Clubhouse back in the day. And so Chef Mimi would be in those rooms as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Chef Mimi. And so we started getting to know each other. She started asking me to join her rooms and be a moderator in her room. I'm like, oh, but I'm not a chef. But she was so gracious to have me in different rooms, especially rooms about food that I know well. I know Chinese food well, even though I don't know how to cook it. So,
that's okay.
Or other, I remember just different rooms she'll have me moderate. Even if I didn't know it well, at least I can move along with the discussion, help with the discussion. So and then when she created Food as Religion, that's when she asked me to be one of their moderators. We used to do a social media room every week.
You've been so involved in Clubhouse and helping in so many different ways. I've followed you. I can't always be in the rooms, but I know what's going on. And one of the most amazing things about you, Hiromi, is that you give back so much. And your friends are here right now. And one thing they may not know is that, you've been a huge advocate for Food as Religion. You've brought so much visibility to this club. We're so grateful for that. I'm an officer in the club. So one of the reasons I really wanted to interview you was to honor you and to say thank you for that, because you're a voice for Food is Religion. And, we're so grateful for that. Chef Mimi's not here right now. I know if she was here, she would jump in immediately. And all the officers would as well. As you went along in your Clubhouse journey, then all of a sudden you became a Clubhouse icon. And I was thrilled. I was jumping up and down when I heard about it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, so well-deserved and so amazing. But how did that feel? Can you share a little bit with everyone about that?
Clubhouse icon was not even in my
Wheelhouse. Yeah.
I would never have dreamed to have been a Clubhouse icon. Like, I know that people are going to say, Hiromi, don't say that. I would not even think I was worthy enough to be an icon. That was not in my head at all. So to say I was shocked, like, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. I love the app so much. And I was one of the second phase or third phase to get a house early, and just being around all the beta testers back in the day, it was so amazing. And I remember doing rooms almost every day back in the day too, just being on Clubhouse daily. Do you want me to tell you the story of how everything happened?
Of course. I think everyone does. Let's see some hearts. I mean, I think everyone's dying to know. I know I am, for sure.
Yeah, so I was it was in December, and because of being a beta tester for the house features, I started, I got to know Joe Armenia, the head of community on Clubhouse. And then one day Joe messaged Lalo and Rima, Lady Hustler, all of you know them.
Yeah.
And he said, guys, we need to have a meeting about something. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it was like right before and the big meeting with other people. So I thought maybe Joe wanted to run some new features or talk about a new product. Like, I just thought that. And that's what the other Rima and Lalo, they thought that too. So when he got us into a room to have a meeting, a private club house room, then that's when he said, oh, just wanted to let you know that you're the next icon. And I was like, what? I was so shocked. And we did have to keep it a secret for about a month. They did the photo shoot in Toronto. So I did not have to go anywhere. Lalo and Rima got flown to Toronto, and yeah, it was so fun. I stayed over in Rima's hotel. So they had hotel for Lalo, and then they had a hotel for Rima, and then I stayed over the day of the shoot.
So cool.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was one of the most memorable times in my life. It was so fun. And we had a really famous photographer, and he's the one that took my profile photo right now, Ted Belton. He's a very
such a beautiful photo.
Oh,
that really expresses your emotion too. It when I look at it, I think you just became a Clubhouse icon, and you're glowing, and it's just awesome.
I know, yeah, Ted Belton is incredible. If you see his Instagram, he's hot. Like, I couldn't believe I was being photographed by him. So yeah, it was really nice to have that experience.
Wow, you painted an amazing picture. There's so much energy in this room, even though it's virtual. I can just feel it. So as we go along, now you're a Clubhouse icon. What did any doors open because of that? Did any new opportunities come about, new direction because of that?
I wouldn't say new doors. I think it does feel good that you can kind of put it on your resume. I was a Clubhouse icon, and just visibility. One thing I didn't expect was, I know people will probably say but I didn't expect all the love and welcoming and appreciation. Wow. It was really beautiful. And while I was icon, I know, I guess this is how like Miss America feels. Like you go to all these different events and put on different events while you're icon. And I had a lot of different communities reach out to me to interview me. And that was really special, like being interviewed in different communities. And yeah, and it was very, I was very touched by that they wanted to know about me and me being an icon. So that was really touching.
So as far as Clubhouse goes, that is an incredible journey. Is there anything new coming up for you in Clubhouse? Anything that you want to do or you want to talk about?
In terms of Clubhouse, I really like the asynchronized chats that they have. I think it's at first, like everybody else, I was just wondering, okay, where's this going? What are they going to do? I was just thinking that. And then when I started seeing everybody else, the way they're using it, I'm like, wow. And I love how you can just jump on and listen anytime. I like that. But I do love the live rooms too. So I hope they're able to find a balance to make everybody happy and everybody thrive. But the asynchronized chats have been quite fun. And I've come up with some fun ones. Like I did one, do you shower every day?
Jumping into filming content, this is the question I've been dying to ask. And I feel like if I want to ask it, other people want to know too. How do you film? If you're just filming with an iPhone, what kind of equipment do you use? Do you have somebody that's helping you? Because I feel like you do. I'm curious, as you're filming, how do you do them?
One thing I love about short form video content, and Jonathan will agree with me, is you can do everything on your own. That's what I love about doing short form videos.
Okay.
Or even I can go into long form video in the future. But yes, everything is on my phone. I have a ring light. I know some people are like, don't use ring lights, but I do. I love my ring light. It makes me look more, I don't know, fresh. I do like using natural lighting too when I have it. But everything is on my phone. I film everything in the palm of my hand, attached to the ring light.
Wow.
Quality is good. Yeah, I don't really have external people helping me. I edit everything on my phone.
Yeah, that's incredible because it feels like you have a second person. You give that illusion, and that's really amazing because I think it's hard to do all of it at once, Hiromi. And again, you're great at multitasking. But we all have to remember that there's a balance, right? I have to learn that myself. So we got a little bit of behind the scenes with TikTok. What is it? Can you share any tips or best practices for moderating TikTok and social media? Like, how do you engage with your audience?
Well, posting consistently is first, so you have the visibility. So I do try my best to post every day for my father's account because there's an educational element. And I have to be very careful of how I write things. I have to research that I'm saying translating everything correctly. So my father's is probably every 2 or 3 days. He has a lot of views on Instagram. Actually, he's doing super well on Instagram, and his TikTok it builds really well. For my content, I do try my best to post every day, and then with engagement, the comment section is gold. My most popular video to date right now that's building momentum, is that now at 1.7 million views, and the comment section is like at over, I think I haven't checked yet in the past this morning, but I think it's at 1,700 comments, and oh my goodness! But I do read all of them, and I like all of the comments.
I saw you posted that. You do. You engage with every single one of them.
Well,
that's
I try.
Amazing.
So I'll like it so they know, oh, Hiromi read this comment. And on TikTok, which I hope they'll have on Instagram soon, you can favorite a comment. So it goes into a favorite category that's private only for you to see. And so I favorite a lot of comments, and so that I will use those comments to make a video in the future. And I usually give a shout out to those people, or you can do a reply to video with a comment. So that kind of gives them a shout out too. So a lot of inspiration I get from there. But she actually inspired me to do a few And Ethan too. Both of them inspired
Oh,
me to do
awesome.
a few, especially Gen Z slang. They
Okay.
inspired me a lot. So I just like a lot of my friends and supporters that going live. That's a great way to community build. Ethan goes live a lot. That's an incredible way. And Danny, she's one of my moderators on my lives. We go live with Seb too. So yeah, just so many supporters that I really, and those are the ways that you build engagement, build visibility, build community. So yeah, going live, engaging in your comment section, commenting on other people's posts. And I learned that a lot from Chef Jensen. He mentioned that when I actually
I love Chef Jensen.
on Food is Religion. So about engaging with other content, and I do that a lot on Instagram, and that gives you visibility as well. Yes.
All right, so I have to share this little tidbit really quick. Chef Mimi introduced me to Chef Jensen from Best Served Podcast. He has an incredible podcast that's really real about the restaurant business. And I asked him to do an interview on my podcast. The day I asked him to do the interview, there was a windstorm. So I had to cancel with him, and he was super busy, and he was so gracious that next week we did the interview together, and it was incredible episode because it's so real and so down to earth and really connects to the hospitality industry. It's really honest, and God, I just loved it. So doing this with you is amazing. Doing this with him was amazing. And again, that's why I became a podcaster. It's really cool to hear a shout out for Chef Jensen. What about when we look at, strategies for social media? Because you've been a moderator for so long in Food is Religion, let's focus it on food influencers, food bloggers, people that are learning to grow their presence on social media. Do you have any special advice for them?
You know what's funny is I talk to other content creators as well. Whenever you mention food, even if your content is not about food, like the philosophy of Food is Religion, it just brings everybody together. I remember going live almost every week, and Danny would attest to this. What's your favorite cake? And then we'd have all these, and then the next week would be, what's your favorite topping on your pizza?
So any other tips for food bloggers, food influencers, food podcasters?
Yeah. Being on top of food trends, watching other people and seeing what other content creators, don't copy them, or if you do emulate them, always give them a shout out. So I get a lot of like new food trends that I see on TikTok that I'm going to try. So that's always fun. Also learning from other food chefs. Like there's two chef Monicas in Food is Religion. There's two. One of them is really big on TikTok, and she always teaches us about lighting. She talks about, and she does a voiceover. I just love, if you want to watch how to master being a chef on TikTok, go to her account. She is incredible. She's
cool.
Mexican American. Yeah, she's incredible. And yeah, just having really good lighting, especially when you're showcasing food. That's really important. Telling your story with your food or your recipes. I often, even though I'm not a chef, I tell a story about what food is important to me. So I'll give an example. My most recent food one is the peeling grapes one. Well, I actually did a watermelon one too, but I peeled grapes, and
I saw the watermelon one. Yeah.
Yeah, eating watermelon with chopsticks. But I my culture, like eating with chopsticks. I also use the Chinese word for grandmother, Cantonese, and in my comment section, I had a lot of supporters who were saying, "Oh my goodness, did you just say papa?" Oh, I never hear anyone say papa. Like it's the way it's grandmother in Cantonese. So that was a way to incorporate my culture with the food. And so I try to do that, which brings awareness. So you can always tie food. So you can always tie food with anything related to your content, like, and people eat, or people just like watching what you're eating. So it's kind of interesting how food just ties everybody together.
So as you went along in social media, are there any standout moments or experiences that you've had that you'd like to share?
Okay, there's so many. Okay, I'll say for Clubhouse. There were so many rooms, so many special rooms that I've done on Clubhouse. But I think the most special one, I have to say, was one I did with, he's a former Clubhouse employee, Chris Galelo, him and I. It was like many months in the making, but we interviewed Paul Hyung Sung Lee. He plays Appa on Kim's Convenience, and he's also in The Mandalorian. But yes, he's in so many, he's an incredible actor. That interview was, that was one of my favorite interviews to do. Also, I was so honored to be interviewed by Mohit. he's a Clubhouse icon himself. He wasn't an official icon, but he's a Clubhouse superstar. So that was really cool to be interviewed by him.
Wow.
But just, yeah, so many great moments. As for TikTok, just I think the first video that went viral, that was kind of one of the biggest kind of moments in my life. That was really special. And just going, I don't know, just there's so many videos and so many amazing moments that I had. Oh, and meeting a lot of people in real life. That's very special, from people I met on social media, like meeting Lalo and Rima. Oh, and then a group of Asian moms, they're really big on TikTok. And they met in Toronto, and then one of them I'm close to, she called me out to meet them. And so I went to hang out with them. That was so fun last year. And yeah, just meeting people in real life, from Clubhouse or TikTok or, Instagram, that's one of the best things. You already have this connection with them, and then when you meet in real life, it's like, you get so excited.
I keep talking to Chef Mimi. I really want to meet her, and we've had a couple misses where we would have connected. And
my message to everybody, it's just to really love yourself, and I just try to be grateful and thankful every day for even like just sitting outside my backyard and having the sun on my face. I just want to be thankful for that and always be thankful for everything.
I know that a lot of these people are your friends and supporters, and I think it's just awesome that everyone is here. I'm just really excited that we had a chance to do this, and you are an amazing human being. And the last question I have for you, there's one more. I thought about this a lot. You've grown tremendously on social media. How do you stay so authentic and humble? Because I didn't want to say that in the beginning. I didn't want you to get choked up. Everyone I've met that knows you says that. I've experienced it. You're a great friend. You're a great supporter. You've been in my rooms. You came to celebrations that I had and supported me. But how do you stay so authentic and humble?
I really am an advocate for therapy. So try and get therapy as early as you can. The second thing is, I wish I could go back into time and change a lot of things, but I can't. We can't do that. So the only thing to do is to do better for the future. And I think that's what that helps me stay grounded and helps me humility. Yeah. And helps me to be who I am and true to who I am.
That is fantastic, Hiromi. And I just want to leave everyone with that thought, because I was dying to ask that question.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Follow us on Facebook. Find our website in the show notes. Subscribe on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen. Leave a comment with 5 stars, and stay tuned for the next episode of Voice for Chefs.